Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurudeva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Yapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So I think we finished with the first chapter last week, did we not?
Yes, we're starting chapter 2.
All right. And Deepa Ji, thank you for coming in and helping us.
Of course. I'm sorry I dialed in just at 7:30 a.m. That must have
All right. We won't dock your pay. So we're starting chapter 2.
Yep. I'm just looking for the page. Just a second. Janak Uvacha Aho Niranjana Shanto Bodhoham Prakrite Para Etavantamaham Kalam Moheneva Vidambitaha. Janaka said, "Oh, I am the taintless, serene, pure consciousness and beyond nature. So long I have spent my days bewildered by delusion."
So here we have in the language of poetry the exclamation of King Janaka at the moment of realization. So understand, notice he does not say, I'm a realized person. He says, I am the infinite, the consciousness. How weird. For so long, I thought I was a person with qualities and characteristics, needing to do that, refraining from this. Where has that person gone? Just like waking from a dream, it's gone. When I look inside, there's nothing there. Only the vast empty space of pure awareness. Next verse.
Yatha prakashayam yeko dehamenam tatha jagat ato mam jagat sarva ato mama jagat sarvam athva na cha kinchana. I, the one, illumine this body and also reveal this universe. Therefore, mine is all this universe, or indeed nothing is mine.
Yes. So I, the Supreme, I, the Self, am the same thing. I am Atma, Brahma. The Self in you is not a part of God. This is what fools us, because, if you, as it were, look behind your eyes and notice the noticer, sometimes it feels like there's this vast emptiness. Other times it feels like, well, there's a point from which I perceive the world. In truth, the self has no dimension. Time and space are in it, but it has no time and space. It's kind of like this. If somebody from the US, somebody from Russia, and somebody from Europe, they all travel to the North Pole, and they're at the North Pole, and someone says, okay, now go north from here. How do you go north from the North Pole? There's no north left. So also, you realize the self in me is not like the self in you. The self in me is the self in you, and it's the ground of being for the entire creation. So here, Janaka thunders the same stuff we had last Thursday in Yoga Vasishta. Yoga Vasishta, we were told there are 3 ego states, 2 that are conducive to liberation, 1 that's conducive to bondage. The first, I am everything. All this is myself. I pervade it all. Or I am ever asangaha, detached. I go nowhere and all this moves in front of me like a movie. Now, those 2 mind states are conducive to realization. The 3rd mind state, I am Jim, I am this body, I do this and I don't do that, and I'm separate from the people, places, things, conditions out there. That ego state is conducive to bondage. So here, am I everything? Am I nothing? You can't find words for it. Now, as Yoga Vasishta says, for the Stita Pragya Purusha, the person of steady wisdom, even those ideas, I'm everything or I am nothing, they're gone. The mind thunders to a stop. It is stupefied. Next verse.
Sashariramaho vishvam parityajya mayadhuna kutaschit kaushaladeva paramatma vilokyate. Oh, having abandoned the universe together with the body, I now perceive the Supreme Self through the dexterity of some teacher.
Yes. So I love it. He can't even tell which teacher it was. I love the story that when Chinmaya was a teenager, he stopped at Arunachala and he wanted to see who this Ramana Maharshi was. And he gets to the satsang hall and there was no room in the back for him to sit. Bhagawan, if you go there, there's kind of a couch that he used to lie on. He'd be deep in samadhi. And Balan, that was his name then. The only place he could find to sit, he had to walk all the way up to the front and sit down. As soon as he sat down, Bhagawan opened his eyes and looked right at him. Didn't say a word. Totally put him into samadhi. As he left, he said, "Oh, he hypnotized me." Many years later, before he connected that experience with going to the Himalayas. So was it the influence of Ramana Maharshi? Was it the influence of Shivananda? Was it his Jnana Guru, Swami Tapovanam? By the grace of some guru. What has happened for Janaka? He no longer identifies with the body, mind, intellect, and the agency that arises in the subtle intellect. He no longer perceives the phenomenal world as concrete, separate, joy-giving or misery-producing. It's all gone. By grace, as it were. Next verse.
Can I ask a question, Jim?
Please.
You said agency. Are we to assume no sense of agency and just surrender all of it? Like,
Well, of course, we experience making choices. This used to really confuse me because we'd like be at dinner with Swamiji and he would say, "Pass me the chutney." He's got a sense of agency, you know. We don't have to talk funny. It's not what it's about. But the person of steady wisdom clearly knows that there's no person there that's really making the choices. Where do the choices come from? Well, the choices come from desires. Where do the desires come from? Fundamentally, the force of the past and the environment and the qualities of mind. I was reading something about how some neurologists are saying you actually take the action before you think that you're going to do it. I'm not sure I understood it, but the whole idea is this thing that happens in my mind. I think I'm going to make some quinoa after class for dinner. Well, of course, there's the experience of choice and then action based on that choice. But where does it come from? If I go looking for this person who's making these choices, you can't find it. It's just a function that happens in the mind. So Swamiji used to say, it's not kismet, it's karma. Kismet, that's like a Persian word for fate. Whoa, I'm just waiting for God to do everything, you know. Everything is God out there. No. Your own equipment is part of the jagat. Did that make it a little clearer?
Yeah, thank you.
And the thing where it gives us peace is when we look to the past. If you think there's a person who made decisions, then the next thought is, oh, I made bad ones and good ones. And then the mind goes to if only, shoulda, woulda, coulda, which is nonsense. From the standpoint of a yogi, you could do no other, because you weren't really doing the doing. And the same with the future. Should I take this job or should I take that job? Should I move back to India? Should I stay in the United States? You know, should I date this person? Should I not date this person? You're going to do what you're going to do. In a sense, it was all written when you popped into the world. So you don't worry about it.
I think there's a fake sense of agency that creeps in when you're trying to decide the morality and ethics of a situation.
And you've probably done things that are not moral and not ethical. So what did that do? Of course, consider the morality and ethics. Do good, be good. And you're going to do what you're going to do.
So you're saying even among the ethical principles, what we choose is not, it comes from karma guna tattva.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you're like me, I have had ethical principles, and at times I've not lived up to them. Maybe you're different than I. So why didn't I act according to my ethical principles? Well, chances are I had some absolutely rational justification. They deserved it. I'm teaching them a lesson, all sorts of things. It's the corporation. They're evil anyway. I tell you, every thief who walks into the store and steals something does not see themselves as evil. But why did they do it? Guna and karma. But the major benefit of the renunciation of the sense of agency is we give up regret for the past and worry for the future. Do your best, let God have the rest. Now, this is a really good question, Deepa, because once we begin to deliberately work on silencing the raga and the dvesha. I must have it this way. I'll never have it that way. Then we have a chance of going deep inside and listening to the intuition. And you've all heard me tell this story so many times. When I went to audition for the job I had at St. Augustine, and I went and did a choir rehearsal, I came home and this guy Silas gave me a ride home, and I said, "You guys are nuts. I'd be crazy to take this job. You know, there's so much dysfunction in this church." And Silas was very quiet. They'd gone a year and a half without a music director. They couldn't get anybody to take the job. And he said, "Will you pray about it, Jim?" And I said, "That I will." I sat right here in a chair that I had in this place, and I asked my intuition. I posed it as a question. I just do it this way. Okay, should I take this job? And then I wait. And I call them my signals. It's a sense of rightness. And I got the very clear intuition, take the job. Are you sure? They're crazy. Yeah, take the job. So it was a decision that I made contrary to my rational mind. And that happens not infrequently. But if you develop this deep sense of intuition, and the price tag is you have to give up any concern for the outcome. You've got to be willing to make a mistake. Sometimes it's a rationalization, not intuition. If you work at it, the occasional hunch or inspiration or God shot, some people call it, becomes a working part of the mind. Is that useful?
Yeah, very much so. Thank you.
And in the end, if the yogi understands that happiness has nothing to do with the outcome of events, as long as I think, if I make the right decision, I'll be happy. If I make the wrong decision, I'll miss something, I'll be unhappy. Then you have very little chance of being able to make an intuitive response to life. That's the price tag. But I can only share with you, I have found it as an unerring guide through life. You know, some people look to the guru to tell them what to do. You should marry this person. This is what's wrong with you. Do it, yada, yada, yada. Swamiji never did any of that. Or very rarely. He never did it with me. And I will frequently tell people I have absolute confidence in your connection with your higher power, with God within you, with your deep guidance. It's much smarter than I am. I can't tell you what to do. But if you get quiet, and if you practice mature vairagya, I'm not attached to the outcome, and you get still inside, you'll know what to do. Well, how will I know if it's really the right answer? Acting on what you intuit as God's will brings us peace. If I'm rationalizing and I've really got a hidden negative agenda, it won't bring me peace. I'll know that I'm fooling myself. Now, here are some guidelines. Here are things that almost always, I can tell you, are not coming from your intuition. They're coming from your ego. That guidance never tells us to punish other people. It never tells us to be stuck on a position, to be right. It's never violent towards others or towards ourselves. It's always for more creativity. And with very few exceptions, it's not rooted in fear. Every once in a while, you'll be about ready to cross a street, and you'll get the message, stop! And the next thing you know, there's a car that runs a red light. But that's rare. Most of the time, it moves us towards more creativity, more love, more kindness, more generosity, more freedom. Any other thoughts on that? Very good question, Deepa. All right, next verse.
Yatha no toyate bhinna astaranga fen udbuddha atmano na tatha bhinnam vishwamatma vinirgatam. As waves form and bubbles are not different from the water, so the universe, streaming forth from the self, is not different from the self.
So this allows us to turn down our reactivity to the situations. The waves, the foam, if you go out to the shore, you see the breaking waves, you see the white foam. That's nothing but the ocean appearing as the waves of the foam. So also the material cause for the entire universe is Brahman. And just like the material cause for all gold ornaments is gold, so be it an earring, a nose ring, a bracelet, a necklace, it's all just gold, and it never leaves its swabhava, its essential nature. All the names and forms change in their shape and name, but their essence is Brahman. So someone may think they are very illumined, but then, oh, people are boring and they're so stupid, and how can they do that? And yada, 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 yada. Well, the Sthita Prajna Purusha sees everything very clearly, but knows that it's all Brahman. You know, the word compassion, the wonderful word, comes from the Latin con with pathos, feeling. To feel with everyone. Just like if you cut your finger when you're cooking, you don't go bad finger, you're stupid. Because you as an individual pervade your whole body. So also for the person of steady wisdom, they see everyone and everything as a manifestation of the self, myself. It does not mean they're hard-hearted and unfeeling. No. A person of steady wisdom is probably more aware of your suffering than you are. And it's their nature. To be a vehicle for grace, for healing, for love, for acceptance. All right, next verse.
Tantu matro bhavedeva pato yadvadvicharitah atman matra me vedam tad tadvadvishwam vicharitam. Just as cloth, when analyzed, becomes nothing but thread, even so this universe, when examined carefully, is found to be nothing but the self.
Yes. So you look at the carpet. So if you look at the carpet here, do you see the snakes on the border?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're so scary. Oh, snakes. But if you analyze it carefully, it's just dyed thread. That's all that it is. So also, I see there's a terrible person over there doing terrible things. Or, oh, the stock market's going down. The Sthita Prajna Purusha sees all the things that are here. It's not that they're in denial. But they see it all as a manifestation of the infinite, according to cosmic law. The Sthita Prajna knows what's really going on. In terms of their own body, mind, intellect, it's just one of the threads in the weave of the world. The Jagat Jala, it's one of the terms we get. The web of the world, like a spider's web. So each body, mind, intellect, like each flower, each grain of sand, each cloud, fulfills its function at each particular moment of time. And humans were impelled by the force of the past. Karma of the body is karma. Now, there's phony surrender. Oh, it's all God. I'm just going to sit here and wait and do nothing. And I think I may have told some of you about the baby chick who studied Vedanta.
Mhm.
Have I told you this one?
No, not me.
Oh, well, this hen laid a bunch of eggs. They were fertilized. And in one of the eggs, there was a baby chick who decided it was going to study Vedanta. And it was reading scriptures, and it said, oh, all these other chicks, they unnecessarily struggle to get out of their shells. I understand. You don't need to struggle. God's in charge. I'm surrendered. And the chick continues to grow and grow and grow. Starts to get a little crowded. It's getting pretty tight in here. But I trust God. God's in charge. It'll all happen. I don't need to do anything. It grows, it grows, and it grows, and finally says, I can't stand it anymore. Peck, 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 peck. And it pecks its way out of the shell, just like every other chick. You're going to do what you're going to do. So did the chick choose to peck its way out of the shell? Or a far more real experience for you and me? Did you choose puberty?
Or menopause.
Huh?
Or menopause.
Or menopause, yes.
In my case.
Now, because of those hormonal things, we make choices. Were you one of those 15-year-olds who wrote Billy, Billy,
Oh, yes.
Billy all over your notebook?
Absolutely. Yeah. Mad crushes. Yeah.
Yeah. Were those free choices?
No.
Of course not.
Hormones. Yeah.
Yeah.
The past.
It's nature, prakriti. All of it's prakriti in the end. You don't choose to make your hair grow. You don't choose to make your heart beat. It goes on very well without your silly ego getting there. I hope I make my hair grow the right way. Take it easy. You will make choices. That's what we do. They feel like they're free and independent of other influences. The force of the past, the qualities of the mind, and the desires of other people. Especially for the Stita Prajna, who has no desires. Their response to life is yes. I had a student here last night. She has a friend who has a drinking problem. Will you talk to him, Jim? Of course I'll talk to him. He has to call me, though. You say yes to life. Oh, Jim, can I come see you on Thursday? If I have time, sure. Say yes to life. Unless you're too tired, then go take a nap. But for the Stita Prajna, life becomes pretty simple. You're going to do what you're going to do, and you're not going to do what you're not going to do. And none of it has anything to do with being happy or not. Any thoughts on this? Now, be very careful. Are you reacting to life out of fear or pain? I'm not giving you license to go shoot heroin or commit suicide. That's stupid. That's letting that raga and dvesha run things. The deepest part of you, this intuition, wants you to be happy and free. All right, next verse.
Yathe vekshurase krupta tena vyapteva sharkara tatha vishwam mayi kriptam maya vyaptam nirantaram. Just as sugar made from the sugarcane juice is entirely pervaded by that juice, so the universe produced in me is permeated by me, both within and without.
Yes. So I am that Satchidananda, which is the material cause of the entire creation. That shift in identity away from the body, mind, intellect to that ground of being, that chilaka, that space of pure awareness. Next verse. Before we go on, I want to talk a little bit about what you might call aesthetic theology or theological aesthetics. I'm not sure which way to do it. But let's use a for instance. You hear a beautiful piece of music and you find it beautiful and it brings you joy. Why did it? What happened to your mind? One of my students is reading through Swami Tapovanam's spiritual autobiography, Wandering in the Himalayas. And Tapovanam would walk through nature. He would just see the incredible beauty of the Himalayan forests. And he would just be struck with their beauty. Who's had that experience in nature? What happened?
Your mind stops.
But why did it stop? Somehow the doorway into presence was revealed through this thing of beauty.
It's like everything stops.
Yes. And what happens? We love it. I think for me, in terms of nature, the high point is redwood groves. I just love them. I love them. That's the heart's response to the acknowledgement of the divine. We may not have that word language, but whenever we acknowledge beauty, we're seeing God through the forms of the world. And what Janaka's saying here, actually, it's everywhere. Now, let me give you an example. So you may be driving down your car and you see a young person who's a hottie. Now, have any of you seen the drawings done by Leonardo da Vinci of the village grotesques? They're pen and ink.
Yeah, I think so.
They're people with bulbous
Yeah.
noses, teeth, they're gnarly and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They are people that in ordinary mind you would think are ugly. But the drawings are beautiful. Somehow, Leonardo was able to not see ugly village people, but beauty. This is seeing the self in and through the world. And I love the language of St. Francis. You know, brother, sun, sister, moon. He had a sense of being related and loving to everything and everyone. That was his language to express the sense of what Janaka's talking about. Seeing the self, the glory of God everywhere. Now, in all of these things that Janaka is saying, he's saying it, this is mine now because of my realization. But you and I can practice this. How? Thin the mind, and the world will begin to reveal its inherent beauty and divinity to you. Next verse.
Atma jnana jagat bhati, Atma jnana bhasate, Rajva jnanad hirbhati, Taj jnanad nada bhasate, Taj jnanad bhasate nahi. The universe appears from the ignorance of the self and disappears with the knowledge of the self, just as the serpent, indeed, appears from the non-apprehension of the rope and disappears with its apprehension.
So with verses like this, we always have to look at it from two viewpoints. For ordinary people, the universe for us disappears every night when we go to sleep. So what it proves to us is the individual ego and the phenomenal world perceive is a function of the mind. Now, in deep sleep, you still have the covering, the veiling power of ignorance. In samadhi, even that is gone. And the only thing that remains is the how I. But another way to interpret the verse, just like a child sees the rainbow as a solid thing and says, "Mommy, let's get in the car and find the gold at the end of the rainbow." Mummy sees the rainbow, but she knows that it's an optical illusion. It's light being refracted by moisture in the air. So the other way to interpret it, the person of steady wisdom perceives the same world as you and I. But their knowledge is Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is verily gone. It doesn't mean that, oh, I'm in some state where you're dysfunctional. Sometimes Mahatmas do lapse into samadhi, and you pick them up off the floor. But the other interpretation of this, seen but not real, seen but known to be nothing but God appearing as Nama Rupa, name and form. Next one.
प्रकाशो मे निजं रूपं नातिरिक्तो सम प्रकाशो मे निजं रूपं नातिरिक्तोऽस्म्यहं ततः यदा प्रकाशते विश्वं तदाहं भास एव हि. Light is my very nature. I am nothing other than the light. When the universe manifests, indeed it is I alone who shine.
Yes. So we have this term prakash, which means light. It's not a physical light. The metaphor is this: the lamp is the light by which all the objects here in the room at night are perceived. It illumines them. But itself needs no other light to illuminate it. I don't have to get a flashlight and shine it on the lamp in order to see the light bulb in the lamp. So also, you are not void. Some of the Shunyavadins, it's a school of Buddhists, say that ultimate reality is nothing. There is no ultimate reality. The Vedantins say, nope. You are not an it. You are a conscious, sentient being whose nature is the light of pure awareness. And that pure awareness is the ground of being for the whole phenomenal universe. It is the self of everything. Many New Agey people start talking about the Gaia principle. Who's heard about that from the New Agey people?
I know the term, but I don't know what it means.
It's the idea that the earth itself is conscious. And what the Vedanta would say, of course it is. There is no place where consciousness is absent. It may not be conscious like you or me, with an intellect and a mouth that goes blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean it's not sentient. Back before I met Swamiji, when I was studying metaphysics, in my practitioner course, this is where we were learning how to do healing work. We were given this assignment. So we were sprouting beans. You could either use mung beans or alfalfa. You got 3 pie tins. And you wanted to treat them all the same way. You know, the same batch of seeds. And you used to put wet toweling paper down. And they probably have much better ways to do that. And then you cover them with another wet toweling paper towel. The first pie tin, you loved. You're the best seeds in the world. You're going to grow luscious and wonderful. The second one you cursed. You're stupid seeds. You don't know how to grow. Third one, you did nothing. It was the control. It was amazing to see how the good intention toward the alfalfa seeds caused them to flourish. And the negative energy, they were stunted. The control was the control. Now, if dumbass alfalfa seeds respond like that, what do you think happens to children? Or when your own mind attacks you? I'm a worthless piece of shit, I ought to die. Because life responds in the world of pain. It's a very, very good assignment. You can try it. I'd love to hear what your responses are. Some people in class just couldn't curse the damn seeds. Their hearts were too
They
pure.
felt too bad. I would have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Poor little seeds, they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Lloyd, on the other hand.
Huh?
Lloyd, on the other hand, I'm teasing.
But if you're hypercritical about a partner, you know, they get it, they feel it, they react to it.
Yeah.
And if you look for the good, it's like we've turned our glasses around. We don't see right.
Yeah.
We got to turn them around the right way. See life, see God, and watch how the universe responds to you. I have a sometime student. He had a thing called obsessive defiance disorder. Just always getting in fights with everyone and everything. He loves to fight. He loves to be right. He loves to make people wrong. And he gets beaten up. Not so much anymore. He's getting much, much better. But he used to get beaten up on a regular basis. And then you hear people, oh, I could never take public transportation. It's so scary. I take public transportation all the time. I cannot tell you how many times I'll sit down next to a little old black lady and we start talking about God. Usually it'll start off, how are you today? Oh, I'm blessed. Oh, I know where she's coming from. Yes. And there's this wonderful God fest on the damn number 12 bus. Because it's all God. And it responds. All right, next verse.
अहो विकल्पितं विश्वं ज्ञानानां मयि भास्यते रूप्यं शुक्तो फणिरज्जो वारिसूर्यकरे यथा. O marvelous, the universe appears in me, misapprehended through ignorance, just as silver in the mother of pearl, snake in the rope, and water in the sunlight.
Yes. So this phenomenon of superimposition. So you're walking along the beach and you think, oh, look, there's a dime. And you reach down and no, it's a piece of shell. No dime. Water in the desert, snake in the rope, mugger in the post. The phenomenal world, separate from consciousness, inherently joy-giving or misery-producing. All misunderstanding of what's really there. We live and move and have our being in God. This is what Jesus meant when he said the kingdom of heaven is at hand. I'm in the world, but not of it. Not the world you live in. Grabbing and fighting and owning and fearing, conquering. What's my response when I see others do that? I love them. I feel their their suffering as if it were my own. Just like in your own body, when you have an ache or a pain, we like to heal it. So it is the nature of the Stita Prajna to relieve the suffering of others. All right, one more.
Matto vinirgatam vishwam mayyeva layameshyati mridi kumbho jale vichi kanake katakam yatha. Just as the pot dissolves into clay, the wave into water, or the bangle into gold, so the universe which has streamed forth from me will attain dissolution in me.
Yes. So this not only means at the end of time, just like the dream merges into the mind of the waker, but all the various forms are malleable, temporary, in a constant state of flux. Nothing stands still. Now, the material cause never changes, but the names and forms are constantly being born, existing for a while, and then disappearing into a new birth. The physicists tell us that this thing called the human body is stardust. Your body is the result of a supernova billions of years ago. All those elements made its way into a protoplanet Earth. Everything constantly changing and reforming. Now there's a Jory or a Wendy or a Diva. But the entity, the conscious being, is Theta, still established. It goes nowhere. There's always these two dimensions. Nirguna Brahman, the knower of everything, which you and I experience as I. Saguna Brahman, the phenomenal world. Brahman with qualities, which is constantly uncreating and recreating. Moment to moment. Don't grab, don't hang on, don't clutch at things. It's foolishness. Let the change happen, because it's gonna. Like holding on to a moving car. Let it go. You get dragged. All right, let's stop here. What verse are we on for next week?
11.
I'm sorry, what number?
11.
11. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.